Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me down there in Decatur, Georgia, my good friend, University of North Georgia alumni and host of the Georgia Voice of College Football, Matt Green, is here. Matt, good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, sir. It's good to be back with you. Best week of the year.
It is definitely one of my favorite weeks. I love Thanksgiving week. I love, obviously, the holidays this week, but I also do think rivalry, I like that it's spread out. I like the Friday, Saturday spread. I like the NFL's got a bunch of bangers on Thursday as well. I've got my NBA going too. So there's just a lot of good stuff, but in particular, like our Friday slate for college football is great. And we're going to have the biggest Tennessee Vanderbilt game in my lifetime on Saturday afternoon. So it's going to be a pretty jam-packed, fun weekend. Don't even know if I'm going to get to Home Depot. Don't know if I'm going to have time.
Yeah.
Bed Bath & Beyond.
I hear you. I just cannot gain any interest whatsoever in the NBA or just basketball at all. It's like it's football season. I just can't even think about basketball.
I can watch the NBA at any given moment. Love the NBA. Grew up on the NBA. It's my NBA, college football, high school football, probably the big three. My wife and I were actually talking about this on our walk tonight. She was asking me like how I'd organize my term watchability stuff, and it's like those are the top three for sure, and then we can get into other ones. But yeah, it's just different strokes for different folks.
I hear you, man.
Have you gotten used to the goatee I've got going here?
Oh yeah, man. I enjoy doing the pod with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold.
So my parents were in town. We went to Gatlinburg over the weekend. They did mention that they knew ahead of time that I was going to have some facial hair because they listened to the pod. So they were not surprised to see their son.
What were their thoughts?
Look. I think they're going to be nice, and I don't think they were going to give me their takes. I don't think I've ever seen my dad with a full beard. He's not a beard guy. My mom probably more likely to be on board, but I don't know. It's a different look, you know. You got to get used to it. I like it. I like having the goatee going.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, sir.
Hey, what? I like it. I don't care. We'll see how it goes. I might keep it. I might not.
Might be permanent. Okay.
That means Matt Green doesn't like it. That's the polite way of saying.
No, I didn't say anything. I don't have much opinions on other people's facial hair. You know, it's just like it's got to be pretty ridiculous to just be like, "What are you doing, man?" But yeah, man, you're rocking it. Do your thing.
What if I just did sideburns? Like everything else was, but you wouldn't be like, "Hey, man, might want to."
I might say something if you were just sideburns, nothing else. A little chops action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could pull it off. Who knows? We'll see. Don't rule anything out.
Well, Matt Green, speaking of not ruling anything out, nobody should rule any craziness out here in college football the final week of the regular season, because crazy things happen in rivalry weekend every year this time of year. I'm very, very excited for just so many games. And it's kind of wild with so many big time games on the slate this week compared to last week outside of my own team, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Florida Gators in the Swamp on Saturday night. It was not obviously a great slate last week. And this week, it just feels like we've jumbled so many big games. And there's just so many stakes involved because of the playoff and this year's 12-team format. And Josh Pate was talking about this on his show yesterday that I agreed with. And it's something that I think is probably good for the sport. And I agree with him here too, is that there are going to be some unhappy campers here because not everyone's going to lose who needs to lose to make this a clean 12-team format. There's going to be some hurt feelings, and there's going to be some good teams, maybe some 10-2 teams left out of this because there's just too many viable candidates and not enough seats at the table, regardless of how crazy this weekend gets. So I'm excited to see how it all plays out, but this year is going to be interesting because there is going to be not just like a one SMU Bama type of deal that we had last year. There's going to be, I think, several unhappy campers based on where things stand going into this final regular season weekend. But what did you make of the college football playoff rankings going into week 14 here, Matt Green?
Yeah, and last year we had all those 3-loss SEC teams that it's like, yeah, but you lost 3 games. It's like leaving some 2-loss teams out feels a little different. Miami was a 2-loss team that was left out. But for one, like the first thing that stuck out to me was Oregon jumping Ole Miss. Just from a simple like logic perspective, like last week you thought Oregon was where are they at now? I don't have it in front of me. 6 and 7. Is that don't even do the thing. Like the college football playoff dude did last night.
I'm not doing that. They were 7 and Ole Miss was 6.
6 and 7, right?
So yes.
So the idea that number 7 Oregon beats I don't know what USC was last week, 15. Like number 7 beating number 15 means they're now better than number 6. Like in what world does that really make sense? Like you had Ole Miss ahead of them a week ago and they didn't play. And USC is a good win. Like that's Oregon's best win of the entire season over like the number 15 team. And Ole Miss has a top 10 win over Oklahoma. Like I just didn't understand that at all. Just right off the bat.
Yeah, it felt like they were getting ready. Ole Miss, man, I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. If the combination of Ole Miss losing to Mississippi State and Starkville this weekend happens, along with Lane Kiffin announcing he's going to LSU or Florida, I don't think Ole Miss is getting in the playoff. I think they're already getting ready to move Ole Miss on down for maybe a 10-2 Vanderbilt, maybe a 10-2 Notre Dame plus Miami. I think if Ole Miss does not win this football game on Saturday, I'm not sure they get. I think it's going to be tight for them to still have a seat at the table, depending on what other SEC teams do around them. But Ole Miss is probably on the shakiest ground to me going into this final weekend in terms of SEC
in terms
teams.
Of one-loss teams, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if Lane Kiffin is part of that formula at all, that's absolutely trash. Like even the dude, whatever his name is, head of the committee the other day said like kind of justified the Florida State decision a couple years ago. Like we had a sample size of Florida State playing without Jordan Travis to think this team is not a top 4 team. Like whatever that is a take, I'm still annoyed by that. I would still be annoyed if I was a Florida State fan, but you won't have a game where Lane Kiffin isn't coaching the team. Sure, you could say, well, they just lost to Mississippi State, so without their coach, they're probably even worse. But like you haven't actually seen them. Maybe they're better without Lane Kiffin. Who knows? But you haven't actually seen a game with them not coaching, with him not coaching. But I just think on merit, if they're a 2-loss team with some chaos, I mean, they could be left out just on merit because Oklahoma is the one like really good win they have. After that, who is it? Like LSU? Like they don't really have a lot of good wins, to be honest. And I'm not someone who's really questioning Oregon, Ole Miss, but if they have a second loss and we start splitting hairs and Michigan steals a spot and just different things like that happen, like it would take a couple different things happening probably. But yeah, I mean, if they lose, they could definitely be in jeopardy.
If Texas beats A&M, I wonder where they move up to.
I mean, I think A&M can drop below a lot of SEC teams if they lose. Like, are you talking Texas?
I'm talking about Texas.
Texas is done. Texas can't get in.
Are we sure?
I'm almost positive, especially because you have 2 teams behind Texas are going to get 2 spots. So Texas has to jump like extra high. Like they'll need, I don't know, it would have to be like 5 or 6 teams losing. Like it would be absolute chaos. I don't think there's a realistic chance for Texas to get in personally, but yeah, I'm curious what they do with A&M, kind of how Georgia Tech got the benefit of the doubt all year while they were undefeated. And then they lose one game and they drop them like 10 spots. Like that's, I feel like what kind of happened with A&M. Like if they lose a game, then all of a sudden you're comparing them to 1-loss teams. They have like the worst resume of any of the 1-loss teams. Like they might drop to like 8 or 9 or something, but well,
and if there's a lot of chalk too, like I don't see how Vanderbilt gets in if there's a lot of chalk in front of them. Vanderbilt's in a tough spot.
Yeah, I think like BYU, Miami, Utah, Vanderbilt, I feel like those are all the ones that all need help. Like they're not in control. But
I mean, I think Notre Dame Miami is super fascinating because my gut is still the pushback of if they both finish 10-2 and Miami beats Pittsburgh on Saturday and Notre Dame beats Stanford. I just don't think if it comes down to a situation where it's one or the other for that final at-large spot, I don't think they're going to pick Notre Dame. I think they're going to they know they have to do Miami because they're too close in the rankings. They have to do it. Like the head-to-head has to matter.
Well, why haven't they already done it is the thing. Like, what is a win over? I mean, I guess a win over Pitt is significantly better than Stanford, but it's not like jump 3 spots in the polls better. It'll be obvious that they're just kind of doing stuff,
But
like
you
they're
just
not.
you can't put Notre Dame in over Miami if it comes down to those final two. You can't do it.
I'm with you. So I have some notes here, sir. Shout out to at CFB Kings on Twitter. He posted this. So in 2024, and this is going into the conference title game when everyone had played the same number of games. In 2024, there were 7 head-to-head results among top 25 teams. Georgia over Tennessee, Bama over South Carolina, Bama over Missouri, Ole Miss over South Carolina over Clemson, South Carolina over Missouri, Arizona State over BYU. Every single team that had won head-to-head that had the same record, the team that won was ranked higher. And so there were 7 instances last year. There's 6 instances this year. Georgia over Ole Miss, Texas Tech over BYU, Oklahoma over Bama, Oklahoma over Michigan, Alabama over Vanderbilt. And the only one that is not that way in the last 2 years is Notre Dame being 3 spots ahead of Miami. Like, I don't know how they're really justifying this. Like, oh, it was week 1. It was a close loss. Like, whatever. Like Joey Galloway was talking about, oh, but they scored near the end of the who'd they play last week? Miami. Because they won by 10 a week ago. I'm blanking on it off the top of my head. But like kind of splitting hairs on
Wasn't
their
NC
scores.
State. Who did Miami beat last week?
But it was just, I don't know. I'm with you. I feel like
Virginia
Tech. There you go.
Yeah.
Miami just, I don't know how you can possibly justify Notre Dame a win over USC. Is that's more important than head to head? Like that's the best win on Notre Dame's schedule, and they're a 10-2 team. Like Miami doesn't have a super difficult resume or anything, but they do have a win over number 8 Notre Dame on their resume. Like that's, I don't know. I don't understand how the committee is justifying it, but I mean, it's Notre Dame. Would any of us be surprised?
Yeah, I'm very, very curious what happens if that's what it comes down to, because you cannot explain it away. Because if you say, hey, they've looked better since that loss, it's like, yeah, they've looked better, but not significantly better than Miami, who finished with a win at Pittsburgh, who Notre Dame obviously beat. But like, if there's only a couple spots between them and they have the same record, and you actually have head-to-head data points, regardless of when it happened in the season, you have to go Miami. Because if that game happened in week 11 and Miami beat Notre Dame in week 11, this is no question that Miami's in front of Notre Dame right now. To me.
And is there any part of the formula that recent form is more important than like week 1? Because like that's kind of the argument against Jordan Travis and Florida State, right? It's like it's not about the resume, it's about what we think you are right now. So like I don't know. I think just subconsciously everyone values recency, more than what happened at the start of the season. Like we all value like Texas's win. If Texas beats A&M, we kind of feel like that's more, indicative of who they are versus losing to Ohio State in week 1. But I don't know. I don't think the committee is going to do it. I think they should, but I'm not convinced. Like a couple years ago with Alabama, like that was the perfect storm for the SEC champion to be left out. Like you had a bunch of undefeated conference champions, and then one of those one-loss conference champions actually beat Alabama. They beat the SEC champion. It was kind of a perfect storm for the SEC champ to be left out. And the committee's like, no, we gotta put Alabama in there. Like it kind of feels like the same thing with Notre Dame. Like, yeah, I know what we've previously done, but we're probably gonna put Notre Dame in there because they've won 10 straight games. And let's ignore the fact that they lost to the 2 best teams they played.
There you go. Well, Matt Green, week 14, final week in the regular season. I have decided I am going to have you make your choices before me, and I am going to
Oh, is
make
that
the
right?
exact same picks here in the money line to ensure that I ride out a 4-game win in the money line this season. It's an equivalent of a QB kneel to wrap up the season to secure back-to-back dubs. I hope you're okay with that.
I think that'd be pretty weak maneuver on your part, sir.
I'm sorry. I play to win, Matt Green.
I mean, just see, I don't even think about the score. So the fact that you're even thinking about it, I feel like you got to go first then. Because I have some character over here, sir. I'm not gonna let that change my my picks.
So teams that kneel it
Let it
out
happen.
in respect of their opponent, that shows a lack of character.
I think so. I think you just keep going. Keep pedal to the metal.
Wants to run up the score.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Well, Matt Green, week 14, rivalry week. Always a hard word for me to say. Rivalry week. It's one I can't say fast. I have to enunciate it very clearly and very slowly on this very program. But it's rivalry week right here on the Chase Notes podcast and also right here in college football. Let's start, Matt Green, for our pod divided Vols versus Dogs here out of the gate. Tennessee, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, 3.5-point road dogs coming into Neyland Stadium on Saturday. What say you, Matt Green, before I get into my spiel? And I'm not going to just pick what you pick. You can save your actual score prediction to the very end of these.
I hear you. I'm not worried about it. These two teams have met 4 times all time as ranked in ranked matchups. I don't know if you had that stat. I hope I didn't steal that from you. 1940.
I thought you were about to say they've met 4 times all time, and I'm like, I am not a mathematician, but gotta say, it feels like Vanderbilt and Tennessee have played more than 4 times.
Yeah. 1941, 1948, 1951, 1958. Those are the only 4 times they've ever played as ranked teams. Tennessee was 3-1 in those matchups. So take that for what it's worth. Diego Pavia, I think he's on his way. Like we talked about earlier this week. He's on his way probably to New York for a Heisman ceremony. I think he needs a win in this game to get it done. And I think it's just, I look at these two teams all year. I feel like Vanderbilt has probably been the more consistent team. But who has Tennessee lost to this year? Alabama, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Vanderbilt hasn't played 3 games that difficult. They played Alabama and they played I would say probably more competitive than Tennessee. I would similarly competitive, right? Actually, I would say Vanderbilt played Alabama closer than Tennessee. But regardless, Vanderbilt just hasn't played the schedule that Tennessee's played this year. And your schedule isn't everything, but I think it's just.
I would say Vandy played Bama almost identical because Vanderbilt had those red zone turnovers in the first half and kind of were right there to really put Bama on the ropes going into the half.
But that was that was like a 5-point game or something. And then Bama like had to score a touchdown with like a minute left or something. Won by like 12, 13, wasn't it?
16, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So I was thinking it was something. It was single digits and they got that touchdown at the end. Like Alabama was blowing out Tennessee by halftime, weren't they?
They weren't blowing out Tennessee by halftime.
I mean, that it was a 14-point swing that pick.
Yeah,
six.
but Tennessee
like
opened the second half with a touchdown. They forced a 3 and out and then scored on a big Deshaun Bishop touchdown run.
What was the score at halftime?
I think Tennessee was down 2 scores.
Are you sure? Are you sure with 3 scores?
Yes. 23. Yeah. See, 23-7. Because it was the pick 6 and it put them up instead. It was a huge swing. So yeah, they were down.
It was a huge swing. 23-7. That's borderline 2 scores, but I'll give it to you, I guess.
What do you mean you'll give it to me? That's the definition of 2 scores.
That is the maximum 2 scores. I'll give you that. But yeah, whatever you want to say. They played them reasonably close. They didn't play a team as good as Georgia. They didn't play a team as good as Oklahoma. Even though those were both at home, like LSU and Texas being their other loss. I think Tennessee, I think they played a more difficult schedule than Vanderbilt, and they'd probably have a similar record if you swap these two teams' schedules. So I think it's just the college football fan in me. I don't think I can pick Vanderbilt to go into Knoxville. Tennessee's won 4 straight in this series, I believe. Give me, and this is gonna be fun, I think. But I could also see Tennessee kind of blowing them out. So give me Tennessee 41, Vanderbilt 31.
Yeah, I think this game could go either way. I would not be surprised if Tennessee won this football game, and I would not be surprised if Vanderbilt won this football game. I think Tennessee, for them to win, will need to win in a shootout. I don't think they can win a low-scoring game where the offense is making some mistakes, stuck in the mud, where it has a bad second quarter or something like that. I just think the possessions matter so much in this ball game. If Tennessee offensively fumbles away, metaphorically, or actually fumbling the ball away a couple of possessions, I think it's going to be really hard for Tennessee's defense to be able to keep Tennessee in this one. I think you need a lot of what you saw in Gainesville, where Tennessee is really hard to beat when they start really hot. And Joey Aguilar was hot out of the gate. They had a really good second quarter as well. It wasn't just the opening script that Tennessee flourished under, and Heupel is obviously one of the best first drive offensive scripters in college football. But I do think there's a lot that Tennessee will need to do to win this football game, because I just think Vanderbilt is a different animal than anybody Tennessee's played in a while. Honestly, going back to Mississippi State and Georgia in terms of just offensive explosion and just kind of a kind of situation where I think they're going to have to win that kind of game that they lost to Georgia and one they almost lost on the road in Starkville. Like, I think that's the kind of game Tennessee's in for. So I think that can be pretty volatile, and that's a type of game where it's one or two plays decide the winner. Vanderbilt's number 1 in offensive efficiency per BCF Toys. Like, this offense is elite. It's better than Georgia. Georgia's number 2, I think, right now in the SEC. But Vanderbilt is really, really good. They are attacking you through the air, kind of in my Diego Pavia rant last week. Diego Pavia is probably my Heisman pick. And part of it is that, like, he's not only still an elite runner, he's not breaking down at the end of the year like he did last year. He's also throwing the ball down the field. Like, they are challenging teams through the air. Vanderbilt's 5th in yards per attempt through the air this season. 5th with Diego Pavia. So not only are they running the ball well, and Diego's running the ball well when he needs to, they're also attacking folks, explosive plays, chunk plays down the field. And that's where Tennessee has not been challenged. Oklahoma beat them and didn't beat them that way. That was Tennessee beating themselves. Florida was not challenging Tennessee down the field. Kentucky was not challenging Tennessee down the field. Mississippi State did. Georgia did. Bama did to an extent. But, like, that's the thing that scares me is Tennessee's very thin. Obviously, no Jermon McCoy, no Ricky Gibson. I think the safety play is going to get challenged in a significant spot here. You don't have Boo, so you're going to see how many snaps you're going to be able to get out of McMurray at star. I don't know who's going to give him some relief in this football game behind him. You went with a lot of 3 linebacker sets last week. I don't think you're going to be able to do that against Vanderbilt here. But Vanderbilt's 5th in the SEC in road scoring defense. So their defense is actually pretty good on the road here in conference play. And the thing that I wonder about, though, that's probably the thing I like most for Tennessee, is Vanderbilt is 89th in passing defense versus ranked teams. So I do think Tennessee has an opportunity to torch them, but man, I think Vanderbilt is going to torch this Tennessee defense in a way that I think is going to catch a lot of folks off guard, because I think people have, and I understand it, like, Tennessee's defense is playing better, but I don't think they've played an offense this good since Georgia. Like, I genuinely believe that. I think this is the best offense they've played since Georgia. Maybe the best offense they will play in the SEC this year. And I think that is hard to wrap your brain around, that Vanderbilt is that good offensively. But I do think they are that good and that explosive and that much of a challenge for Tennessee. So I have some real concerns about Tennessee getting off the field when Vanderbilt's in 3rd and 5, and Diego doesn't see anything down the field and just scrambles to keep drives alive. I think that's a potentially huge problem. But on the flip side, Vanderbilt or the Tennessee Volunteers are averaging 46 points per game versus Vanderbilt at home under Heupel. So they've scored the ball at will against Clark Lee and company when they're inside Neyland Stadium. Obviously, Heupel is also not lost to Vanderbilt here, but the Vols have lost to Vanderbilt one time in my lifetime since 1991, Matt Green, when they've scored at least 30 points once. So as long as Tennessee gets to 30 plus, I think the shootout stuff I feel like is going to be better for them inside Neyland Stadium than it would be on the road in Nashville. So I think this is going to be high scoring. I think Tennessee's defense is going to get absolutely torched in this football game. I do think Tennessee's offense figured some stuff out last week. I think they're back in a good rhythm. I think this is going to be a really, really fun atmosphere. I think the Vols are going to get up for this one. Heupel's going to get up for this one. You get to play spoiler, get your in-state rival, and keep them out of the playoff. Give me Tennessee 49, Vanderbilt 45.
Wow. So that is covering.
Yes.
Tennessee's favored by 3.5.
Just barely.
Yeah, I feel like everything about these teams this year, like if I was just looking at these teams on paper, I would pick Vanderbilt to beat this Tennessee team, but I don't know. I can't get past the little brother in the state. I just don't think if Vanderbilt went into Neyland Stadium, I don't know. Would this be the greatest Vanderbilt season of all time, even if they don't even get to the playoff? Like,
yeah, because I think this is the best Vanderbilt team of all time, no matter what.
Yeah, because I believe Franklin had like 3 9-win seasons, but they may have all been 8-win seasons where you won the bowl game. I think this was like their first 9-win season. Am I mistaken on that? Already, like before, even if they don't win 10 games, it might be their best season like ever. I'm not sure. I don't know how far back their history goes, if they had some good years in like the 20s or something.
Yeah. Well, on the flippity flop, Matt Green, Georgia at Georgia Tech, but not really. It's going to be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium here on Friday afternoon. Tech 13.5-point home dogs. What say you?
So obviously this game went to 8 overtimes a year ago. It was it was a game Georgia probably shouldn't have won. Tech dominated the first 2 quarters. I want to say it was 17-0 at halftime. But Dan Jackson forced the fumble. Georgia's able to force overtime. I think in general, I just always feel like when Georgia's legit, they take care of business versus Georgia Tech. And last year, even though this team won the SEC, I don't know how many people even thought this team was good last year. I don't know. And I think Georgia Tech, despite their record being better, I don't think they're as good as they were a year ago. Like the offense statistically is good, but this defense has just been really bad, especially lately. I don't know. I think obviously you look at what this Georgia defense has been, and there's Tennessee put up a 40 spot. Ole Miss put up 35, scored 5 touchdowns in their first 5 drives. Like they've had those games this year where teams could do whatever they wanted. And Georgia Tech was definitely one of those teams a year ago. But I think this team has kind of found something defensively. That Texas performance was definitely impressive. I kind of think this game has some blowout potential. Like if Georgia gets like 2 stops in like the first half or something, I could see it being a 4 touchdown kind of game. Like, because I don't think this Georgia Tech can stop Georgia's offense. Like I think the fact that you've seen Georgia win games in multiple ways this year, like you had, a slugfest at Auburn where your defense gave up 10 points. You also had a game versus Ole Miss where your defense was getting scored on every time and you still found a way to win. In Neyland Stadium, found a way to win late. So the fact that this team can kind of win multiple ways, and I think the defense is getting better at the right time. I think there's a scenario where I don't think there is a scenario where Georgia doesn't score 40 unless they're just sitting on the ball like the fourth quarter because they're already up big. Like if this is a close game at all, like I think Georgia's going to score 40 points. I'm going to say that Georgia takes care of business, and it's something like 38-17. And I think Georgia might just cruise to victory in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be like last year. And for whatever reason, Georgia Tech has had a lot more success if they do pull the upset doing it in Athens and not in Atlanta. So Georgia Tech has won in Atlanta once in my lifetime. I guess your lifetime as well, Matt Green. It was in 1999, and it was a huge points total game that went to overtime. But we had that last year.
Yeah, it was like 50-something to 40-something. Is that what it was? Is that the game? I think that's the Joe Hamilton, Quincy Carter, just like shootout.
That sounds right. But I do know Tech had 50-something in that game. So that was the last time Georgia Tech beat Georgia and Atlanta. It's been a while, Matt Green. It has been a while. Georgia Tech, I don't know if a lot of folks understand just how bad this defense is in November. Georgia Tech's 132nd in scoring defense this month, Matt Green. They are an absolute disaster on that side of the ball. That's why they can't overcome these big holes that they're in. I mean, Haynes King is not falling off cliff. Yeah, the pick six was bad at the one, but the defense isn't really giving Georgia Tech a chance here. And they're playing with fire. They were obviously in a close one on the road in Boston College a couple weeks ago, too. Playing with their food we talked about weeks ago and should have gone down at Wake Forest. It's just been a rough second half of the season, but they've still, to their credit, found ways to win and stay alive here in the college football and ACC championship hunt. But they have to clean up that side of the ball in a hurry. And I just don't know if that's realistic here on November 26th for Georgia Tech to magically fix a lot of stuff that's ailing them defensively. The Dogs are number 12 nationally in rush defense this month, Matt Green. And that is the bread and butter, the Haynes King, read options, him following his blockers, taking some hits, carrying the ball 10 plus times. I just think Georgia's defense is in a really good place right now, even with CJ Allen. He's officially out, right? CJ Allen will not play in this game.
Yeah, I think he's out even if they get to the SEC championship.
Okay, which could be a big deal in the playoff. I don't think it's a big deal.
I think he should be back for the playoff. I think that's the thing, but we'll see.
And that's big for Georgia. But with all that being said, they're getting better edge play, and I think they're improving on the defensive line. Linebackers, they're good. Corners, I think, are settling down, and DeMello Jones is really coming on here down the stretch. I know he's your guy, DeMello Jones, but Georgia's number 2 in offensive efficiency nationally, Matt Green, per BCF Toys. I think Georgia's going to roll Georgia Tech. I think this is a bloodbath waiting to happen. I think Tech's defense being in the spot that it's in, Georgia's offense being in the spot that it's in, I just don't see how this game's close. I think that 13.5 line is an easy one for me to hit the over. Georgia Tech is -2 turnover margin versus ranked teams this year. None of this feels good to me. It doesn't feel anything like last year. I think Kirby, they obviously got tape on Haynes King and what Georgia Tech did to them last year to really give them some problems in Athens. I don't think this is a game in the fourth quarter. This might not be a game in the third quarter. I think Georgia's going to blast Tech. I think this is going to be a kind of a brutal ending to their regular season for the Jackets. So give me Georgia. Let's go Georgia 38, Georgia Tech 13.
Man, you're picking the same scores as me too. What's going on? You really are just
Wait, what did you say
on it here? I'm just joking, man. I said 38-17. It's okay. Fine.
I didn't want to go 40 because Kirby doesn't run it up. I feel like they could score 40 on Tech. I just don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why last year's game was so heartbreaking for Tech, because you're probably not going to get off to that perfect of a start again.
Yeah.
Versus a team that's also not as flawed, I think, as they were a year ago. Also, don't have a guy as explosive as Eric Singleton on the outside this year.
This is true. Let's do Texas A&M and Texas, Matt Green. The Horns, 1.5 point home dogs. I hope Zeus and I are on the same page because this is my home dog of the week. What say you, Matt Green?
Yeah, I don't know who's going to lose in the top 10 this week, but I feel like there's multiple candidates and I don't know which one to pick. It's almost like NCAA tournament, picking upsets and then you're double screwed because you picked the wrong upset, but then the upset still happened in a different part in the bracket. I've been questioning Texas A&M for weeks, about this schedule and how legit are they. I think this is kind of similar to my Tennessee Vanderbilt vibes. Obviously, this isn't the same as Tennessee Vanderbilt, but Texas A&M is just kind of the little brother in this state. And last year also, this isn't last year. These two teams are different than they were a year ago, but Texas just dominated them physically a year ago. Like I think there was like a red zone turnover, or maybe two or something that happened. I can't remember exactly. They only won 17-7. They block a field goal or something. There was like a couple different things, like just kind of big plays like that kept A&M in the game, but they were really not able to do anything against this Texas defense. This Texas defense is still really good. So I think the offense isn't as good as they were a year ago, but going into DKR, man, I think this is when Texas A&M gets tripped up. They haven't played a top 8 SEC team all year. This will be the first one, and they're doing it on the road. I think I'm going to have to go with the Longhorns. Home dog of the week. I'm going to say 31-30. Texas gets it done.
I did not think you were going to join me on this Texas Longhorns journey, Matt Green.
You're just copying all my picks, man. It's cool.
I did not see this one coming.
No?
No, I thought you'd be on the Aggies here. So did you know the Aggies have never beat Texas and Austin when both teams are ranked at the same time?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Every time Texas A&M's ever won in Austin, one or the other was ranked, not both.
Okay.
Something to consider here in this football game. But A&M is just doing the Georgia Tech thing to me, where they're just playing with fire of late. They should have, if you replay that Texas A&M South Carolina game 100 times over, they lose that game 99 times out of 100. And credit to them for bouncing back and pulling off the miracle of all miracles, but there's a reason they were the first team to do it, being down that much at the half. Samford, yeah, it's cool getting back into gear there a little bit, but I mean, they also were right there against Arkansas, Matt Green, in October, 45-42 on the road in Fayetteville. You've seen them at home against Auburn, 1-score game there. They played with fire at Notre Dame, 41-40. They've been in a lot of tight games, Matt Green. The offense is legit. Marcel Reed and this group is really good. They have a lot of playmakers at wide receiver. They have a lot of playmakers in the backfield. Like A&M is an elite team, I think, across the board. But I do think Texas is figuring some stuff out to me. I do think Texas is, especially offensively, they're getting better. And I think Arch is getting more comfortable. You're seeing in the offense. I mean, they've scored at least 34 points, in 3 of their last 4 SEC games, Matt Green. So they dropped 45 in their win at Mississippi State. They dropped 34 against Vandy in a big win there at home. They beat Arkansas and dropped 52 last week. And Texas, the only game of this last month, essentially, where they have not dropped nearly 40 points was Georgia. And that was on the road. This is in Austin, and they're going to be fired up for this game. They would love to end A&M's perfect season. I think it's really hard to go 12-0, regardless of where conference expansion is. I think no one's really talking about that, Matt Green. I don't know if you share that with me, but like A&M going 12-0 in the SEC in the regular season would be pretty unbelievable and pretty amazing.
Just a lot more believable when you see the schedule, though.
But it's still 12-0 in the SEC, man. Like I remember us talking and other talking heads years ago. It's like, oh, with so much talent in this conference now, this just 10-2 is the new 12-0. We're not going to see those 12-0 type of seasons anymore. And we
but granted, those schedules haven't started yet. Like we're still in an 8-game conference schedule.
Well, no, they were saying that before. That I'm talking about like when they brought in Texas and Oklahoma. It's like, oh, what a gauntlet. There's just no avoiding it. Like this conference is too strong, too many top teams. No one's going 12-0 again in this conference. A&M might go 12-0. if they win this football game. And I think that would be pretty wild. Who would have had A&M being the first team to go 12-0 in the regular season post Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely impressive. It's just not nearly as impressive when you dig deeper and see who they've actually played. Like,
I mean, it's
just
still
can't,
impressive, Matt.
I
It's going
can't.
12-0 in the SEC.
Yeah, sure. It's just if you play the worst 7 teams in the SEC, then you have a lot higher probability of doing it. Like, I don't know. And they also haven't done it yet. They still got to win at Texas. So that would whoever had that theory could be right if they lose at Texas this Friday. But I don't know. I think I haven't not like I'm like super high on Texas this year. I think they've been a flawed team, but they seem to be trending in the right direction. Obviously, the Georgia game was a couple weeks ago, but I don't know. I'm just not convinced about Texas A&M right now.
I'm not either. But that's also why I am going Texas. Let's go Texas 38, Texas A&M 35.
All right, put it on the board. Oh, also we were talking Georgia Tech. Last time they won in Atlanta was 99. That was also the Jasper Sanks fumble game. So it's one of the worst calls in college football history. Those refs were suspended by the SEC because that call was so terrible. Just for what it's worth, the one time Tech actually did beat Georgia in Atlanta in our lifetime was a sham.
Okay.
Haven't gotten over it. I'm sure Jasper Sanks hasn't gotten over it.
Alabama at Auburn, 6.5-point home dogs are the Tigers. What say you, Matt Green?
Did you skip one?
Oh, I was going to go back to it, but I had it
Okay.
there, and I was like, I kind of want to talk Auburn,
fine.
Alabama more.
That's fine. Alabama, Auburn, man. I feel kind of like I was saying about Georgia Tech. Like when Georgia's legit, they just kind of take care of business with Tech. Like when Alabama is not like a juggernaut, like playing at Auburn gives them problems. Like it really seems that way. So I don't know. I've been going back and forth on this game, kind of like I was saying with Texas A&M. Like I just feel like vibes wise, there's going to be some crazy results this week, and like what better upset would there be than the Iron Bowl and Auburn beating Alabama? I don't think I have the guts to pick Auburn to actually win this game. I haven't been impressed with Alabama for a lot of this season. They definitely haven't been able to run the ball, so they're probably not gonna be able to run the ball in this one. I feel like this is gonna come down to the wire, but give me Alabama. I'm gonna say 23-20. They do not cover, but they win.
Yeah, I think this game is like sneaky. It's the Iron Bowl, so me being like, hey, you might want to watch out for this. Have you heard about this? Have you seen this? The Iron Bowl. Alabama, Auburn. Kind of
These
a big
teams
deal.
do not like each other.
No. I don't think it's a good sign that Ashton Daniels is starting over Deuce Knight. I would have rolled with Deuce.
Oh, is he?
Yes, Ashton Daniels.
Oh, I assumed Deuce Knight was starting.
That's what I thought was going to be the case, but it's going to be Ashton
questionable.
Daniels. Yeah, I would just roll it out with Deuce Knight and see what happens here. Harder for Alabama to prepare for. True freshman, blue chip guy. I don't know. That was odd that they're not going Deuce Knight in the spot. That's how legends are made, Matt Green. Deuce Knight is true freshman. Upsets the Crimson Tide and Jordan Hare.
Jordan
Hare. Here's a bold prediction for you, Matt. If Alabama loses this game, I think Kalen DeBoer leaves for another job.
How bold are you going to be? Is he going to Are you going to call him losing this game?
So that's the thing. I don't think he's going to lose this game. I think this is actually a good matchup for Alabama in general this time. What Auburn does really well defensively, stopping the run, their front seven, things like that. Where they're not the strongest is in the back end and in the secondary. And Ty Simpson's been he has not been on fire like he was in the middle part of the year, but Ty Simpson's still probably going to be right there as a Heisman finalist. Has been the Heisman favorite at times this year. Like Ty Simpson is going to be asked to really have a great final game of the regular season here to get Alabama into the college football playoff and also in the SEC title game. But ranked teams have thrown it really well against Auburn secondary when you dive into the numbers there. I think this has the potential to be a big Ryan Williams game to me, where I know you've been kind of down on Ryan Williams. I think Cam Coleman, it's going to be really interesting to see what he does on the opposite side. Obviously, 2 5-stars in the same class for Williams and Coleman. But I just think Bama is going to throw on Auburn, and I don't think Auburn's going to score enough. I think Auburn is going to give up some big plays. I think Alabama's receivers have big days. I think Ty Simpson has a great final regular season game here for the Crimson Tide, and Bama wins comfortably. But my bold prediction stands. If Bama does find a way to blow this football game on the road in Jordan-Hare, I think that knocks him out of the playoff, and I think that knocks Kalen DeBoer into another job. I don't think he goes jobless this cycle, but maybe it's Penn State, maybe it's UCLA, maybe he goes back to Washington if Jed Fish takes the Florida job. I don't think Kalen DeBoer is the head football coach of Alabama if they lose this football game on Saturday. That's my big prediction.
You think he's not cut out for the SEC?
It seems like, I think he's probably, I can't speak for Kalen, but my gut is it's got to be awful to follow Nick Saban at Alabama. That's one of the worst gigs imaginable. So I imagine he probably isn't having the best time where it's like, I'm really good. Did y'all know that I don't lose many regular season games and I went to the national title the year prior here? You look at my all-time record, I'm one of the 5 best coaches in the sport. I'm really good. I'm just not Nick Saban, So I don't know. I don't know if Kalen DeBoer enjoys being the head football coach at Alabama.
No, I think it's never you never want to follow the guy. It's always the expression,
But not even follow the guy. It's following the guy. It's following the greatest college football coach at arguably one of the best college football programs of all time. But
the worst part about it is, I think if Nick Saban was the head coach the last 2 years, there's a chance their record is identical to what it's been, because Alabama was already kind of taking a step back. They weren't the same juggernaut they had been in prior years. So it's even worse because it's like he's getting compared to 2014, 2015 Nick Saban, and 2023 Alabama was not as good as 2024, 2015, 2016 Alabama, so it's like he's kind of damned both ways. But yeah, what was your score prediction for this though? Did you say it yet?
I had not. Let's go Alabama 28, Auburn 14.
The thing is that we did see a game similar to this a couple weeks ago. Oklahoma is built very similar to Auburn, and it's not like John Mateer just went off against Alabama or anything. So he just made some plays, and so but that's been the difficulty for Auburn, is having a quarterback make some plays this year. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's close, but they just can't score enough.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go to the Egg Bowl, Matt Green, where I will still push for this to be a Thanksgiving evening game. And I'm still not happy that at least one or the other, either Texas A&M or the Egg Bowl, has to be on Thanksgiving night.
I think like the NFL just having Thanksgiving. I don't like the Eagles are playing someone on Friday. I don't know who, but I don't know. NFL trying to take Black Friday now. I don't know. Just taking over every day of the week. But other than Thanksgiving, I legitimately despise the NFL on Thursday. I can't stand it. NFL, it's not played on Thursday, sir. It grinds my gears. It's almost worse than playing in Munich. I don't know. I don't get that either. Playing in London, whatever. This isn't an NFL show, but Egg Bowl, sir. Let's get back on topic. I feel like this Lane Kiffin stuff is the most overblown story in the history of college football that I can remember, to be honest. Like, you saw the Brett McMurphy tweet, whatever story where we got crystal ball predictions now for where coaches are going to end up. Like, this is a high school recruiting like circuit. Like, I don't know. This is it's just kind of getting out of hand, and Lane Kiffin is not talking about taking other jobs or anything. Like, yeah, his agent is. That's his agent's job, you know, to represent him, get in the best deal possible. I don't think that there's the actual like noise around Ole Miss and this football team that like everyone kind of wants to believe there is. Like, Lane Kiffin is still doing his job, and Ole Miss is taking care of business week in and week out. Like, the Florida thing has been around for at least a month now, and it's like Ole Miss has not shown any sort of, you know, thing on the field that you would think they're not playing focused or something. Like, they played a close game versus Florida, but like Florida's played a lot of teams close. So I think Ole Miss comes in and takes care of business in this one. I'm gonna say they win this one by 2 touchdowns. They won 4 of the last 5 versus Mississippi State, and Mississippi State, I would say, is probably better now than they've been at least in the last 2 or 3 years. But yeah, I'm gonna say they take care of business. Let's say 38-24. Mississippi State hasn't been able to stop many people this year.
Yeah, one of the things that people have missed about Mississippi State down the stretch here is they've lost a lot of juice. They've lost their last 2 SEC games by 20 plus points, Matt Green. They're just kind of limping to the finish line. Blake Shapen getting banged up. I think they had a great early part of the SEC season. I think it's a positive step in the right direction for Jeff Lebby and the Bulldogs here in year 2 of his program. But I do think they've lost a lot of juice here down the stretch, and I just don't think they're going to get up for this football game for Friday afternoon against the Ole Miss Rebels. And I just think Ole Miss is going to take care of business. I think Lane, when he was talking about how media and a lot of folks have to get reconditioned that like this is not the distraction for players that people on the outside would assume is a distraction. And I think he's right here, where guys look at it with the portal and everything else, where it's a year-to-year type deal anyway. It's not like the old days where they might actually be really nervous and really thinking about what Lane's going to do because they're locked into Ole Miss, right? They have to sit out a year if they transfer, if Lane leaves. You know what I mean? Like, their careers were going to be significantly affected based on what their head coach did. And now they're like, yeah, if Lane leaves, then we'll leave
go with him.
Yeah, like nope, we're not sweating it, you know? So I think he's right there in terms of the overblown part of it when it comes to players keeping focus on the task ahead. So I think he's right on the money. And I thought it was really good perspective from Lane on that. So I do tend to agree there. I think they're going to take care of business. I think they're just going to beat Mississippi State. I don't think Mississippi State's having a good second half of the season. So give me Ole Miss to finish 11-1 here and force their way into the playoff, as much as I feel like the committee probably doesn't want to put them in if Lane Kiffin leaves. But yeah, I think they're going to win this football game. So give me Ole Miss. Let's go Ole Miss 34, Mississippi State 17.
All right, put it on the board. I just want you to know we've agreed on like every pick so far. So you saying that you're not sandbagging over here. I don't know. The listeners might think otherwise.
Well, let's do the final big one here before we do our rapid fire, Matt Green.
Okay.
Ohio State at Michigan. I just think we're gonna agree here too, unfortunately. And some of these are upsets that you're agreeing with me on. So it's not my fault, Matt.
No,
there's only so much I can do here. And I think we might have some disagreements down the stretch too. But Ohio State at Michigan, the Wolverines 9.5-point home dogs. Are they going to do it a 5th time in a row, Matt Green?
So the last time they won 5 straight was when they won 6 straight, actually, from 1922 to 1927. They also won 6 of 7 with a tie mixed in there from 45 to 51. Also won 5 of 6 with a tie from 1988 to 1993. They low-key dominated Ohio State in the 90s. It was like a 15-year period. I think Ohio State won like twice. they're just not as good as Ohio State. This is when we were talking about the college football playoff. This is like the ultimate wild card game on the whole sheet, because if Michigan beats Ohio State, they are going to get exactly as high enough in the rankings as it takes to get into the playoff. And then you can't penalize teams when they lose a conference championship anymore. So they probably get into the playoff and steal a spot from a deserving team. But this is one of the worst 9-2 teams, I think, in college football right now. They have not looked good most of the season. I will say they look similar to what they were a year ago, even though they have a 5-star quarterback with a much higher pedigree this year. But they look kind of similar, just kind of, even though that team was 7-5, and that team had no business beating Ohio State a year ago, especially not in the horseshoe, and they went in and did it. I don't know. After 4 straight, I'm starting to think there's something here, but I don't know. I feel like this is going to be kind of like the most boring game of the day, just to be honest. Like, I just feel like some of these Big Ten teams have a way of doing it, and Ohio State just kind of cruises, and it's like 24-10, 24-14 or something, and they just kind of quietly take care of business, but it's not flashy. And after the game, you're kind of like, yeah, I guess Ohio State's good, but I don't know. How good is Michigan? I don't know. I don't feel like we're going to learn much from this game, but I think Ohio State's going to take care of business. So, yeah, give me Ohio State. I'll say 24-14.
We're going to disagree here, Matt Green.
Picking the Wolverines?
It's just going to happen again. Weather's going to be terrible in the 20s. Cold, at home. Ohio State's in no matter what anyway. Michigan is going to throw a wrench in the CFP because this puts them in the Big Ten title game, right?
Yeah. I don't know why they're ahead of Oregon, but everyone has said that if they beat Ohio State, they're in. So I guess having head-to-head versus one of the other one-loss conference teams, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Michigan, they're number 10 in defensive yards per play allowed. That's the one area of their defense that is elite this season. And I just don't think, with Jeremiah Smith banged up, Carnell Tate, like, we'll see how they both are. They've kind of been on the sidelines, in and out the last couple of weeks. We'll see where they're at. Ohio State's just not been challenged, really, all year long, Matt Green. And I just think going on the road in hostile territory here, Michigan, I think there's some stuff to like. Like I said, they don't give up big plays. I don't think Ohio State's going to be able to chunk play them, especially with this weather. The weather conditions being what they are. This is going to be a low-scoring affair. That benefits Michigan a lot more than it benefits Ohio State. So here are the total points that Michigan has allowed at home this year in order, Matt Green. 17, 3, 10, 7, 16. Highest number was New Mexico with 17 on Michigan in the opener. Nobody scored 20 plus on the Wolverines in Ann Arbor. I don't think Ohio State's going to either. I think this is going to be slop city, and that is going to benefit the Michigan Wolverines. And I think they're going to win in hilarious fashion once again and make the college football playoff and beat the Ohio State Buckeyes for a 5th year in a row. Give me, and this is Bryce Underwood's statement win here as a true freshman. Give me Michigan 17, Ohio State 13.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be the biggest upset of the season, I think, if it happens. I don't know. Obviously, there is no one on this Michigan team that has lost to Ohio State. Maybe I'm underselling that just from a vibe perspective, but I don't know. It just, maybe I'm a fool. I'm sure I picked Ohio State to win all 4 of these other games because they were probably favored in all 4 of the previous matchups. But I don't know. Maybe Michigan's got something on them. Yeah. Connor Stalions isn't walking through that door, sir.
We shall see. Let's do some quick hitters here, Matt Green, to wrap up. LSU 10.5 point home or road dogs at Oklahoma. The one thing I will say about Oklahoma, I'm selling Oklahoma. The offense is not good. The offense has to improve a whole lot for me to change my position on OU and LSU. I think this is going to be slop. I think this is going to not change my attitude and thoughts on Oklahoma's offense going into the college football playoff. They need to show me something, but I don't think they will. They're 45th in offense per BCF Toys. I think they'd have the worst offense going into the playoff this year if they make it. Maybe Michigan would be worse if they end up getting in here. They're also 112th in long passing plays in November. I think this offense stinks, and I don't think that's conducive to winning multiple playoff games. So we'll see on the Oklahoma part. The defense is legit, but I've not been impressed, and I think this offense still has real problems. But a testament, John Mateer still finding ways to carve this out and doing enough to keep the Sooners winning these football games. But give me Oklahoma, an ugly one, 20. Let's go 20, LSU 9.
Oh, so you do have them covering though.
I do have them covering.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I think I'm not selling my Oklahoma stock because this defense is legit. But this is one of the more dangerous games of the whole weekend, I think, to me. Because Oklahoma loses this, I think at 9-3 with their schedule, they're probably still one of the best 12 teams in the country. But I think they're out of the playoff if they lose. It's gonna be a close one. I'm gonna say LSU actually covers, even though they weren't impressive versus Western Kentucky last week. Although Western Kentucky's like 8-3, they're a pretty solid team.
Yeah, Tyson Helton's good.
But I'm gonna say Oklahoma barely scratches this out because this is what they've basically been doing all year, and I'm gonna say Oklahoma wins 20-16. They're going to the playoff.
There you go. Let's do some rapid fire here. LSU or Louisville home favorites by 3.5 over the Wildcats. What say you, Matt?
Kentucky had won I think like 6 straight before last year. Yeah, before last year they'd won 6 straight. Wildcats getting back in the win column. Louisville's lost 3 straight coming to this one. Kentucky 26-23.
Yeah, I don't think this continues. I think they stop the slide here at home. I think Jeff Brom gets them back on track. Kentucky had some late season juice. I think it's fading a little bit. Give me Louisville. Let's go Louisville 24, Kentucky 17.
All right, put it on the board.
Arkansas 2.5 home dogs against the Mizzou Tigers. Matt Green, what say you?
Is Taylor Green playing in this one? Do you know? I know he left last week's game.
I assumed he was.
That is very important. If Taylor Green's not playing, I'm changing my pick. But everybody gets one, sir. That's my logic in the SEC. Everybody gets one, and Arkansas has not gotten one yet this year, sir. So Missouri is trending in the wrong direction. This offense is terrible. Give me Arkansas to get their first conference win of the year. 35-33. They beat Missouri.
Taylor Green is not listed on the injury report, so he and Bo Prabula both good to go. I like the belief, but no, Matt Green. Mizzou's going to win this football game. Extension talks coming potentially with Eli Drinkwitz. Seems like he's staying put. We'll see on Eli Drinkwitz's future in Columbia, but been some smoke this week that Mizzou fans might get some good news on that one. We'll see on that front if he ends up staying there, but yeah, no, I think they're going to win this football game. Don't overthink it. Mizzou's defense is still really good, and they'll do just enough to win in Fayetteville. Give me another low scoring. Yeah, I'll go low scoring. Let's go 28 Mizzou, 20 Arkansas.
All right, put it on the board.
Oregon at Washington. The Huskies are 6.5-point home dogs. What say you, Matt Green?
I've been critical of Oregon for several weeks now. But I think last week was probably their best win of the season. I think it's definitely their best win of the season. I think they're trending in the right direction. So give me Oregon. I'm going to say 34-27. They win this and cover on the road.
Yeah, I think so too. I do think Washington, interestingly enough, has won 3 of the last 4 in this series, but Oregon really dominated this thing for the majority of the 2000s. I think Washington, their defense is legit. Damon Williams legit, but yeah, I think Oregon's on a mission right now. Give me Oregon, who crushed them last year, 49-21 in Eugene. Let's go Oregon. I think Washington's even legit. Let's go Oregon 27, Washington 13.
27-13?
Yes.
Or you say 37?
27.
Okay. Put it on the board.
Final one for our pick'em. Miami at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 6.5-point home dogs. What say you, Matt?
Lots being made about Miami leaving the state of Florida, going up to those cold weather places. They are actually 15-6 all time at Pittsburgh, for whatever that's worth. I think if the committee's decision really comes down to how Notre Dame and Miami played against Pittsburgh and not how they played against each other, it's gonna be pretty wild. But maybe Miami gets. I don't think Miami is going to dominate the way Notre Dame did a few weeks ago, but I think they are going to cover. So give me Miami 34-20. I don't know if it's enough style points, but they should be in the playoff.
I think if they win this football game, I'm going to say Miami gets in. I think he gets in.
Are they going to win this football game?
I do. This is the most Pitt season ever. Pitt, they just ended Georgia Tech season. What a win. What a great moment. They blew it on game day with all eyes on them against Notre Dame at home, but they're riding high after knocking out the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets on the road at night. This is where at home they come back and they're like, mission accomplished. And then Miami comes in there and just boat races them, kind of like Notre Dame did a few weeks back. I think Miami's going to win this football game. I think Miami's going to go 10-2, and I think Miami's going to be in the playoff. That's my gut. My gut on the Canes. So let's go Miami. Let's go Miami 38, Pitt 27.
All right. Has anyone asked Pat Narduzzi if he cares about losing this game or not? Is this one he does care about?
That's a good question.
So if they lose, we got 3 1-loss teams in the ACC, and then we could have SMU and Virginia in the ACC championship if Pitt loses. Oh man,
yeah, I mean that's kind of what it's going toward. That's like I'd be surprised because I think both of them have to just win and they're in, and SMU's got Cal.
If they all three win, who's in? Do you know if Pitt, SMU, and Virginia all three win?
Yeah, SMU and Pitt are in, or SMU and Virginia are in.
Okay, so Pitt can't get in, or they need some help?
They need some help, yes.
Okay. I hope they all have 2 losses and we get Miami in there. And they can get that automatic qualifier spot. The ACC does not deserve 2 spots, but Miami is the best team in the ACC.
It's true. But
let's watch out for the officiating in those SMU and Virginia games. See if there's anything fishy happening to pull the strings to get Miami in there. Although they got too much transparency now in the ACC with that replay booth and everything, they won't be able to pull that off.
Yeah, you need that everywhere.
I'm here for it, man. It's great. It feels like the reviews happen faster too when they're showing talk about it.
I agree. Well, that's all I've got, Matt Green. Anything you want to throw out here before we wrap up here on this Wednesday night, ahead of Thanksgiving here on Thursday?
That's all I got, man. We will Georgia Voice of College Football. We'll be doing an instant reaction at some point on Friday night. We might be post Georgia Tech. We might wait till the A&M Texas game is over and then go live. But yeah, we'll be coming to the people at some point on Friday night.
I love it. Matt Green, always a pleasure, and I'll talk to you again in a couple days.
Yes, sir.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.